Hello, my name is Clara and I'm the owner of the Ink Path. And yes, if you watched last week's video, I'm filming on the same day because that's what quarantine does to me. I want to talk about books all the time, and now that I have scheduled my work, I can actually sit down and properly film several books at a time. I want to chat today about a book tag that I saw Ariel Bisset doing in her channel. I'll link her channel down below and the link to that video specifically, and also the questions that we are going to go through. But we are going to go through reading habits, through several questions in the tag, and I want to chat about my reading habits because I feel like they have changed a little bit since I joined BookTube, and I want to actually go through them and chat a little bit. I don't want to answer straight away. I want to actually give you arguments about that, okay? So in case you want to join, the subscribe button is there, you can give it a like, you know how it goes. My social media is down below. Let's start. Before starting the tag though, I wanted to tell you that I will be looking at my computer as I'm doing now, because all the questions that you're going to see down here and also in the info box down below, I'm going to have them on my screen so I know in which question are we exactly, and that's easier for me to actually chat to you, okay? So the first question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? Not really. I read everywhere. I normally read on the table, any table, probably the living room or here in my desk, mainly because, as you can see, I'm a disabled person, and that as I have mobility issues and I use the wheelchair, it's easier for me to lay the book on a surface, so I don't have to struggle with it while I'm driving or while I'm moving around. The thing is that I would love to read on the bed, and I even have a tool that allows me to do that. However, I am not very comfortable laying on my back, so I have a little bit of an issue with that. But sometimes when I'm very stressed out and I need to change position, I want to get out of my wheelchair, I use that reading nook that I have there. I use that kind of armchair and I place it by the window, normally if I have a lot of sunlight, which is great, and I love it. Just I don't use it very often because I need help sitting properly on the armchair, so if I don't have anyone with me that can actually give me a hand, it's a little bit complicated. But other than that, that's what I do. More bookmark or random piece of paper? No, I normally use bookmarks. I even have a books full of bookmarks, normally from all the book fairs or signing things that I go to. Also on my desk I have a kind of bowl where I put all my pencils and pens and all, and I have the kind of the easiest bookmarks that I own, like collected there too, so I just grab them and use them. Can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain amount of pages? Yes, I stop anytime I feel tired. Lately I try to finish chapters first, maybe not in physical format, but in the Kindle, in the ebook, I have issues trying to remember where I left. I remember the plot, but I don't remember where exactly I left the reading. experience, so I try to finish chapters in ebook when I'm reading digitally. What else? Do you eat or drink while reading? I have done both. Lately, I only drink, but if I have to eat something because I'm in a hurry, I will do it. The reason why I just use drink normally tea, I could live only with tea. It's because I have issues, or I have certain problems with my hands regarding regarding the kind of precise movement. So if I have to eat something quick, I don't mind having the book and reading. No, but if it's something that needs to be cut and needs more attention, I need to be very focused on what I'm doing, because otherwise I will not be able to coordinate my movements. A lot of these questions are going to be related to my disability, in fact, so I warn you of that. But yes, drinking, yeah, I normally have a bottle of water with me all times, and also, I need tea to survive. This is Clara from the future that just realized that she skipped a question. And the question that I skipped was number 5. Multitasking, music or TV while reading? Yes to the music, no to the TV. Again, we are going to put this in context. I used to be able to read everywhere, anywhere, with conversation around, with shouting around, I didn't care. But then, when I started this course when I started this master, I found myself needing to be more focused on what I was reading, because I wasn't reading for fun anymore. I was reading to learn and to be a writer and to analyze what techniques were used. So I found myself struggling with the TV, also because the year before that I was living at home, not at my parents like now, but at my own place, and I didn't use the TV that much, and I was very, very used to reading in silence and to be in silence or with music of my own choosing. So having the TV at the beginning was very, very kind of disturbing after that, because at my parents' place the TV is mainly play on, it's switched on at all times. So reading while having the TV was very, very distracting. Having the TV in general was distracting back then, and I needed to be more focused, so I needed to be away from TV. And no, I don't use the TV. However, with music, I don't normally use music either, unless it's classical music or soundtrack and stuff. There's been recently a book that actually allowed me and needed proper songs with lyrics and all, which was Love Letters to the Dead, because the Spanish publishing company, the publishing house, did an open playlist with the songs that were mentioned in all the chapters. So what I used to do was to play the song in a very, very low volume where I could actually listen to the song, but it didn't interfere with my reading while reading the proper book, because it was to place me in the context. It was a technique I used to get into the story. One book at a time or several at once. I used to read only one book at a time, but since 4 years ago, I believe, when I joined BookTube, I was doing a creative writing master, and we were asked to, of course, write a lot, write fiction, write non-fiction, and read a lot to learn how to approach the writing project and whatever we wanted to write at that time. So I was asked to read several books and analyze several books, so I had to start multitasking. Then nowadays what I do is exactly read several books at a time. What I normally do is to assign certain books to certain times. For example, I love audiobooks as of late, so I use audiobooks when I'm going to bed, when I get into bed and I want to stay up for a little bit of time. Because of my problems with my mobility, I am not able to grab a book and start reading directly in bed. So I discovered that audiobooks work very well for me. And also, if I'm very tired of reading on the computer, that's when I switch to a physical format of a book. Reading at home or everywhere? I read everywhere. I used to be the kind of girl who at a birthday party, normally friends, well, not friends, family, because we have more confidence. If the other children were going out to play or run or whatever, obviously I couldn't. Sometimes I could, but sometimes I couldn't because whatever game they were playing, it was more physical than I was actually capable of. So I used to carry a book with me on my back that is tied to the wheelchair, and that's a kind of an habit that it still stands. I normally read everywhere. I know that lately it's easier for me to read at home, but what I normally do is when I'm going out with someone, like on errands or whatever, if we're going to take the bus or the train or whatever, what I do is we already discuss if we're going to be talking or if we want to have separated time. So we are together, but we are reading different things or doing different things while on the public transport. So yes, I keep books and read everywhere if I can. Reading out loud or silently in your head? Normally, my answer to that would be silently in your head. But again, since I joined BookTube, since I did this kind of master on creative writing, I found that if I'm reading an English book, for example, a book that is written in English, and I don't know certain words or I don't understand certain scenes because of the language barrier or because I didn't catch the tone of what it's been said or how it's been said, especially if it's a classic, especially for example if it's a Shakespearean play where the English is very old and even written it doesn't match the written form of modern English. I find that reading that out loud, especially if we're going to talk about plays and Shakespearean plays, helps me out to understand, to try to see how I would pronounce it if I can. Maybe that helps me to understand the tone of what has been said or the situation that we are at that certain time. But normally it's silently in my head. It's just this exception of not understanding a concept or idea or a situation, even if it's in ancient, in old English, that I need to actually put my actor voice and try to voice it out. Do you read ahead or even skip pages? No, I don't skip pages. There was only one time where I read ahead, but it was when I was a teenager that I was adoring a book and accidentally I went to the end and I read something. It was not even the end, but I already knew a plot twist. I went through a plot twist that was like really shocking, and then I got to a page or two before the ending and something happened and I linked both events. The number 10 that says breaking the spine or keeping it like new. Breaking the spine for several reasons. First of all, you buy books to read them, so you, or at least I don't find it necessary to be reading at this distance. For example, let's keep Rupi with us. If I'm going to read Rupi's poems, I'm going to open it so I can actually read what is said. I'm not going to I'm not going to rip the book apart, but I need a space for me to be comfortable while reading. So this. Also, as a person with problems, as I said before, holding and doing kind of a precise movement with the hands, not in this case because this is a paperback edition, but the hardbacks are heavy and more difficult for me to handle. So if I'm not able to completely open the books, I'm going to be struggling to read, and I want to read. That's all I want to do. Plus, if you have a book with a broken spine, it shows that it's been read, that it's been enjoyed, that it's been lived with a certain person for a certain period of time, so that's nice. And lastly, do you write in your books? I don't write in my books because normally the margins or the spaces in the pages where I can actually write are very small, and my kind of handwriting is not that big, but it's quite medium and it doesn't fit on the margins. But what I do is, as you can see here, to put post-its on it or markers or whatever you wanted to call it. In this case, these were all the poems that were either very touching to me up to the point of crying, or that it spoke to me in certain levels of my feelings at the time of reading the poem. This is it. This is the reading habit tag. I want to tag Sam from Thousand Tomes because maybe she wanted to do it just for fun. If you are busy, just don't worry. It's just an idea. And of course, if you are not Sam and you want to actually do it, you're more than invited. Please, if you do the tag me on Twitter so I can actually see your reading habits. Please. See you next week. Bye.